Welcome back to the Anorak Entertainment Podcast, everybody. I'm your host, Martino, and today we have a really great guest with us, Lotus Beam. We'll introduce her in just a second here. We've got some news stories that we're going to go into a little bit later. We have a Lord of the Rings animated series coming out, or not series, I'm sorry, movie actually. Got a really cool trailer to talk about. But guys, before we get started, please hit that like button below, subscribe to the channel, leave some feedback in the comment section, share this with your friends, and hit that bell for notifications. That would be very much appreciated. Also, guys, the show is on Spotify now. Make sure you go over there, follow us, get the audio-only version of this if you don't want to watch the video. But before we get to our guest, I also have with me today on the news, Miss Samee Ramirez. Samee, how you doing today?
Hello. Really happy and excited to be here.
Heck yeah.
Doing great.
And then we also have the one, the only, one of the most motivational people I know. We're going to be talking a lot with her today about a podcast she wants to start up and a whole bunch of other things. Just really get to know her. But we do have with us Lotus Beam. How you doing?
Hi. Thank you for having me on your show.
No problem. I'm excited to have you here.
Welcome.
So
thank you. Thank you.
So where were you? Let's dive right in. Like, where were you born, actually, if you don't mind?
So I was born in Somalia, which is located in East Africa.
Okay.
But I came here when I was a baby, and basically I grew up in London, England, and I would say this is like my first home because this is all I've ever known, really, as in like where I grew up and where my family is and friends are and stuff.
I see. So you don't remember the birthplace very well, essentially.
No, because I was quite little, like when we were coming to England. I was like a baby, so
yeah. No, I understand that. Like, I was born in Chicago, and I remember like parts of Chicago for sure, but I moved to Indiana when I was 3. So
okay.
For me it was like it's just like that as well, so I understand exactly where you're coming from. So I mean, so you move over to London, England, right? I mean, starting with that, I mean, we kind of, you and I've kind of talked off air. I mean, kind of a wonky home life growing up and stuff, but
right.
I mean, you don't have to touch on that if you don't want to. So, I mean, you wanting to start a, motivational podcast, though, I guess my question is, how do you go from something of a negative lifestyle to wanting to have like one of the happiest lifestyles out there? So, if you could touch on that, that'd be great.
Okay, so I had a very difficult childhood growing up.
Right.
We moved around a lot as well, and due to that, I felt growing up I didn't get the help and support that I needed during those traumatic times in my life, and it's made me become a person that just wants to do good because I never got that energy of where I the support that I needed. I never got it, so I felt like I want to give back to like the younger generation, even the older generation that have been through similar things that I've been through, and I just want to kind of shed a light on things such as like mental health, spirituality. Being spiritual has actually got me to the point that I am right now because I felt like without a presence of a higher power, God, in my life, I wouldn't be where I am today, because it feels like, kind of like a miracle in a way, if like, overcoming the things that I overcame in my life. And I feel like because I'm in such a great place in my life right now, like I want to give back as well. I want to do good for people, people struggling in life.
Well, no, it makes sense. And like, so when you say give back, what types of things, I know you were kind of talking about, your sort of relationship spiritually, with a higher power and things like that. But like, what are the other types of things that you want to be able to achieve on cause you're starting up a podcast, and so what kind of things do you want to be able to achieve on there in order to give back?
So like, I already kind of do charity work. Like I kind of work with an organization called Rumi's Cave, but since COVID and everything, I've stopped. And that was because they've shut down many of the places, and obviously more of the homeless are housed now due to COVID.
Okay.
They're kind of off the streets now. So yeah, like, but I that's what I usually do on the weekends. Like, I do charity projects
Oh, that's
where
great.
we put funds together and we give out like a certain package. For example, one sleeping bag, a pack of sanitary stuff for their
Nice.
hygiene
Nice.
and things, and cook like a meal for them and just distribute it. So we do that on the weekends. But now I felt like everything's from home now. Like, my job's from home, the internet, everything, you know. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
basically decided, like, why don't I start a podcast? But I've been thinking of starting one for like a year. I just never got to that point because of things that were going on in my life. But right now I feel like I'm ready because I've met some amazing people such as yourself, Dom,
Oh, thank you.
that have really kind of like told, you shed a light on things to me, like, do this, do that, kind of helping me out. And I'm so grateful for that. And I feel like now I don't feel as kind of fearful of it as I was at first, because I was thinking, oh, what if people don't agree with me? What if that? What if this? But I realized that, why should I actually, like, if I'm doing good, why should it matter what people think, or what, do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, this is something that I feel I'm helping people with, you know?
For sure, for sure. I
Yeah.
mean, I want to go back into your charity work a little bit here too, because I know, Sammy, you could probably speak to this too a little bit. Like, here in the States, there's such a stigma behind, even just giving a homeless person $1 or something along those
Right.
lines, or just doing something, to help another person. It just seems like there's a stigma behind it.
Mm.
What would you say to
Yeah.
people to try to kick that stigma? And how would you kind of fight off the fact that people just don't want to help other people? Like, what's something you would say to those people that don't want to help? Lotus?
Oh, I
Yeah.
thought the question was, so,
No, no,
okay,
no, no,
I know, yeah, it was
no.
unclear to me too. I wasn't
Sorry,
sure.
yeah.
sorry about that. Yeah. What would you say? I'm sorry. So what would you say to the people that, don't want to help other people? And just feel like that, charity work is a waste of time, because, any dollar that you give a homeless person, quote unquote, they're going to take that dollar and use it for the wrong reasons, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
What would you say to people like that?
I would say that maybe those people haven't seen what pain is, and haven't seen
Hmm.
what hurt is, haven't seen what sleeping without a meal for even just one night feels like. So I would say that they're very understanding
Yeah.
people, and people like that will never get the situation of a poor person. So yeah, I would say they're very, I don't know, how do I put it in a very nice way that doesn't come across as very disrespectful at the same time to the people who do have, money and whatever. But
Well,
I
I
mean,
would just say too. I mean, I think it's a complicated balance, because
yeah,
there are people that are correct. Like, I could give
mm,
a homeless man $5 and he'll go buy booze with it
yeah,
instead of like saving it to help himself, or buying food, which is something you need. So it's a
yeah,
delicate balance. But on the same hand, I don't think, okay, if I give a homeless man $5 and he goes and buys booze with it, isn't he still happy for that day? You know what I mean? It's kind of the way I look
And
at it,
the
mm,
in a way.
and for
But
me too, the thing is, like, yes, he could go buy booze. He could also use it to buy food. But the thing is, when the average person goes to work, you don't know what they're using their paycheck for either.
it's true.
That's also a
exactly,
person receiving money
right,
they still had to do something to earn that money. And you don't know where they're spending it, but because they're of a certain class, we don't
yeah,
care. It's for some reason
exactly,
it's sacred.
Yeah.
But when all of a sudden it becomes someone on the street, we immediately dehumanize them, and it
100%,
becomes a whole nother ball game. That's how I feel
right,
about it.
right,
Wow. Yeah. No. That's yeah.
100%.
That's
Yeah.
probably true. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, is there? I mean, so is there any like charities that of that people should be getting involved in, just donation wise, or something online that maybe people could look at to maybe educate themselves a little bit better on this, or maybe not, maybe there isn't anything, maybe it's something like you were saying, they just need to know what it's like to live on the streets and to live in pain, or um, is there anything that you know of like that, Lotus?
Well, I work with Rumi's Cave. Like I used to work with them before the
Okay.
COVID, but now it's kind of been shut down a bit. But and then I used to work with Childline as well, because I remember like stuff that I went through my childhood, and they kind of in a way helped me out in my teens. So I donate to them. Since the COVID situation, like no one's really kind of been out there kind of, well, they have, but it's mostly like people who are working for, you know, the health government and the police and stuff like that. Like there's like what's that word? You know, when
Um,
they have like a curfew. They had
curfew.
curfews,
Mhm.
curfew
Right.
times, like to the point that it was like 5 p.m. curfew. Like what?
Wow.
Wow.
Like 5 p.m. Like
Yeah.
that's crazy. Like there was, you know, no homeless people allowed to sleep on the streets, so
Right.
they had to
Right.
house them through putting them up in hotels and stuff. So really, there wasn't much work to do for this past year, I would say.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to do my bit from home, you know, kind of starting the podcast off
Yeah.
and doing what we spoke about. Yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, let's talk a little bit about that too. I mean,
Yeah.
what unique thing do you think you can bring to the podcast based on what you are doing? I guess at this point.
So basically kind of like certain communities, such as like not every person in that community is that way. I'm not judging everybody the same, because I know there's decent people in every part of the community, every religion, every culture. So the communities are mostly that I've noticed was the African, the Middle Eastern, like even like South American communities as well, like certain areas, certain parts, like mental health to them is just like, what is it? Like if you try to
Right.
tell your parent, you know, oh, I don't feel well,
Mhm.
or I've got a headache, or I don't want to eat any, like if your kid's not eating for a week, you know, and they're just like quiet and they're not themselves, and they try to explain, you know, I've got depression, I think I'm depressed, they'll look at you like you're on crack or something, like, oh, is he
Yeah.
taking drugs, is she taking, what's wrong, you know, what's going on? Like it's just so toxic. And I felt like by creating a podcast, from talking about the community that I'm from and talking about the community of the people that I grew up around, and the ones that obviously out there when I do more research that don't really take big interest in the mental health community and society and what it is, you know, and
Right.
recognizing certain things. Like I wanted to shed a light more on that, and that's like more on the Somalian community and also like the Arab community as well,
Yeah.
and also other communities as well. But like those kind of ones, like the African community and the Middle Eastern community, are most kind of like just ignorant on the subject of mental health. Not all of them, but majority of them. And I grew up in that toxic society around those kind of people, and it's just made me think, no, like I want to actually make it normal to talk about depression,
Yeah.
to shed a light on mental health and like what it is and how it can affect people and how dangerous it can be, like the effects it can have on someone if it's not treated, you know.
Yeah.
Especially in East Africa, like mental health over there is just non-existent, you know.
Right. And so, I mean,
Yeah.
because you've been going on stereo a lot too, you know, I mean,
Yeah, I have.
do you find it's difficult to have those conversations on stereo, or do you just find that your sort of like-minded community sort of flocks to you when you are going on and talking to people, or do you just join up with other people that are just going to be open to that sort of conversation anyway when you get on there? Or I don't know, how's it been?
Well, I tried to like introduce myself and pop up and try and join in conversations that are like something I feel I can relate to, and even ones that I don't relate to. I try to mix in with many different types of groups of people,
Yeah, I know.
just to kind of see their kind of view. You've seen me, Dom,
Yes.
like being on Stereo, like some of the people on there, you know, you get all different types of characters.
It's true.
Yes.
It's true.
So right, so you've seen them. So I feel like I wanted to just kind of hop on and just get to know all various types of people, see their points, see their views, build up like a listening kind of how do you say, a listening kind of group, or like getting more listeners, you know. And it's been working for me, because so far, like, I feel like it's actually like it's going well. Like, I've met a lot of interesting people. I've met people that I might not ever want to meet again, and that's okay. You know, it's experience. I've had negative and positive experience, so
Well,
I
yeah.
feel like it's actually, it's going great. It's going great. Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Well,
I've set up my
genuinely one
page
of
as
the
well.
what was that,
Sorry?
Samee?
That is genuinely one of like the most underrated parts about Stereo, that I kind of
Yeah.
clicked when you said that, because it's true. It's all different types of, you really get all different
Yeah.
types of people. The more
I
shows you do,
know.
the more different
Yeah.
opinions you
Right.
get. So it's a really great tool to get to
Exactly.
take intake of that, and to you know, get a
Exactly.
good understanding of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
I've had the most interesting experiences, and not in a positive way, but that's okay, because, you know,
Right.
you learn. That's how you
Mhm.
learn. You learn what people like, what they don't like.
Right.
Because when you do start a podcast, it's not just about me and my points. I want to know what other people are thinking,
Mhm.
what's like current society kind of thing, what's going on, you know, what's around and within the community that I'm in, and even outside. So, and I want to be in so many different kind of groups and learn so many different things, because that's how you grow, right? That's how
Right.
you grow a good podcast.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
yeah.
the one thing I would say, I mean, to speak to that, and why I think that things are going to bode so well for you, is because, I mean, me and, you know, my dude, we're just having a Star Wars conversation. You come in,
Yeah.
and you're not talking about Star Wars, which is fine. But
Right.
because by the end of that conversation, I was like, that was a very fascinating person. I got to get her on my show. And so I think that's one of the unique things that you can bring to every place that you go. Well, no, I mean, seriously, that's just something about you that I just love. And it's one of the reasons that I had to have you here on this very day.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. I mean, so you're starting a podcast. It hasn't started yet, correct? Like, there hasn't been any official episode put out quite yet.
So I've set up like my whole gear kind of thing. You know, I've set up the whole station for the podcast now, whereas before I didn't. Today I finally did that, and I have set up a page on Instagram, but I still haven't uploaded anything of work, because I still want to kind of like work on it and edit it and do more future like, you know, interviews and join as guests and stuff, just to kind of like learn around. And as you said, you know, I don't want to run before I can walk, you know. So I'm learning my way up, and you know, it's going great so far, and hopefully it will be official once I get, you know, a little bit more experience, and I learn a bit more. Like, even though I know what I'm doing already right now, it's like I want to make it like put more of an effort in it to really kind of just give out the right proper information, you know, not just think from my own. I'll give my opinion as well, but I want to do research as well. So.
Well, what I love about what you're doing too is, I mean, you're already kind of building it before you start it, because we talked about Stereo and then Instagram Live, and you know, you've been doing a lot of those lately too. How's the Instagram community been treating you?
The Instagram, the first day that I opened up, I've had like 25 friend requests. So from people, from people who are like-minded, from people who just from all different types of groups, different areas of like their own podcast shows. And I've been making a lot of friends. I've been getting to know people. I've been getting amazing advice, you know, from you as well, Dom. Thank you so much again.
No problem.
And like it's going good so far. So for me to be doing this, only finally to start it like for a week now. So I think it's a week now, or a week and a half. I've been doing it. And since then, like, it's just been kicking off. Like, everything that I'm doing is working out for me. Like
Right.
researching, learning about different things, getting to know people from the same kind of area that I want to work in as well, you know.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it's going good. I'm grateful. Thank God. Yeah.
Awesome.
That is really
Thank
cool.
you.
That's
Thank
really
you.
cool. I mean, between the two, stereo and Instagram, I mean, which which one do you feel like is better for you, I guess, at this point? I know you hadn't done Instagram Live a lot yet, as much as I see you on stereo,
Right.
but which one do you find to be the more comfortable sort of outlet?
I feel like maybe the one where it's on stereo, because it's like when you I don't know, this is my opinion anyway, not everybody's gonna see that point, but when I talk to a person, I don't talk to them from I don't see them through my two eyes. I see them through their soul. Like you get to know a person for who they are, what you know, not how they look, and you get to know them on a different level, because people are usually comfortable when they're on stereo because you don't see their face, and sometimes people get embarrassed easily, or they feel some type of way, and that's okay, you know, whatever works for people. And I've realized that stereo is probably a more better place to kind of make friends and get to know people and talk to people, you know, and interview people on. So
yeah, no, I mean, Samee and I
yeah.
have met tons of people on stereo.
Yeah.
We also, and then you got, I mean,
We met on stereo.
We met on stereo,
Yeah,
yes.
Dom and I met on stereo.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was a listener who chimed in, and you know, she sounded like she really knew her stuff. So I was like, I got to get her on, and
here we are.
Here we are.
Wow, look at that.
Yeah.
See, stereo is a blessing.
It's
honestly, it's brought us only blessings. Honestly,
it has, honestly, and the people that I've met have not only just wanted to just help me, you know, like they literally offer, and these are things that I needed help with, you know, and it's like, wow, these people are so beautiful inside out, you know, and I'm so appreciative of the fact that I could able to download stereo and meet people of like-mindedness. Like, it's great. And I've met people who are not of like mind, but they're also great in their own way as well. So it's interesting.
Yeah, I agree. It's really amazing to be able to talk to our listeners and just get multiple different what's the word I'm looking for? Multiple different perspectives.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's been a really, really great way to connect and you know, kind of build what we're doing, and hopefully you know, help people too on in our own way, you know. I mean, some people like to just sit there and listen to movie conversations or whatnot, or I mean, and you know, for as far as advice goes, I mean, our door is always open. You could always ask us anything. I mean, it's yeah.
Thank
So
you.
just,
Thank you,
just
guys.
wanted to
You guys are amazing.
Extend that invite. You know, we're no pros or anything, but we've been doing this a while. So.
Thank you, Samee. So, Samantha, so are you.
Either one. Thank you. Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
It's all love here.
Yeah, no,
I love it. It's amazing. I can feel the good vibrations, like not just here, but the fact that people that I've met on stereo, such as you, Dom, and Samantha now, and it's amazing. Like, it's lovely. It's a nice experience, because when your whole life you've been surrounded by people who don't understand your passion or your view in things, or your view of life, it's kind of depressing, which kind of adds to onset of depression, because you feel like you're alone, you know, you're on your own, like no one are you the weird one, you know, but you're not the weird one, you know, you just see things differently, and that's okay. And you know, I feel like it's nice to meet people of like-minded. So
yeah, I agree.
It's good. Yeah,
it's wonderful. Yeah, I mean, you and I had a conversation off camera the other day, and we were just like, we're more like-minded than I think people realize. I mean, we have a lot of the same sort of spiritual beliefs and things like that.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to get into some of that though. I mean, because you and I were kind of talking about like the paranormal, and you know, we were talking about like
paranormal,
right? Oh my gosh. Exactly, and we were talking about like aliens and just like ghosts, all the paranormal, right? And we were like, this, God, you know, everything, it's all connected. I mean, you know, what got you to that point to where you kind of started to believe that, you know, this stuff, it exists, you know what I mean? The spiritual world, it's a real thing, you know what I mean? What got you there?
If I tell you, you're gonna say I'm crazy.
No, I want to hear it. Do you have a story?
Let's hear it.
Do you have a story?
Okay. Okay, so um there was a time that I was going through something at home and I decided I was like 13 or 14. And you know, one of those times where you just feel like, oh my God, it's the end of the world.
Yeah.
So I kind of
Right.
just like, I ran away from home. And I remember I went to one of my friends' houses, and she's kind of like into the paranormal and spiritual stuff. And she asked me, she said to me, come with me, let's go to Bristol, which is a different city. Okay. And we went, I've never been to Bristol, by the way. I've never
Right.
been on a train by myself at that age. Like it was scary, but it was fun at
Wow,
the same
right.
time. So she's more wild. You know, everybody has that wild friend that's spontaneous. I
Right.
wasn't that friend. She was, you know.
Uh,
And like we went on the train, went to Bristol, and we ended up for the night staying at her hippie auntie's house, who doesn't really kind of look at what
Right.
you're doing. She
Right.
just, you know,
right.
whatever. So I remember like she got us a blanket and she got us pillows, and she goes, you guys can sleep in the living room tonight. So we went to the living room and we were just getting ready for sleep, and then all I hear is her snoring and sleeping. I'm like, oh, she's gone to sleep. So I'm in the dark on a, you know, one of those beds that are like pull out beds.
Yeah.
I'm lying on
Right.
there. I literally wake up and I literally felt like my whole face had been slapped off, like
Oh, wow.
slapped off my face, like
Wow.
literally like a fat hand just bam on my face. And I jumped up, and I remember waking up. My friend was like, "Hamina, oh my God, did you slap me? Did you slap me?" I was like, she was like, "No, what the hell?" And I know she was sleeping because I could hear her snoring. Like she was just, I
Right.
could feel it, you know? And that's when I knew there is like the unknown out there. I know it sounds crazy, but when you've been slapped by a ghost, and I know it was a
Right.
ghost
Yeah.
or a spirit, whatever it is, but I've had good experience as well, like that I've noticed. Like
Mhm.
there were times where, you know, I was going through things and I became very spiritual, and
Yeah.
things worked out for me a lot. And even then I knew it in my heart, like just all of the stuff that I've
Right.
been through in my life, I could have gone the other way. I could have ended up being in a mental institution, but I didn't. You know, I came out the other side. I'm successful. I have a beautiful child. I have a beautiful family. Like, you know, the family that I do keep in contact with, that is. But yeah, they're beautiful and the same. And it's like, I'm grateful, you know, and
Yeah.
I feel like there is a higher power out there, and good does exist in the world. It's not all negative. Even if you've gone through the worst things in your life, it's not all negative. It's not all doom and gloom. There is like, you know, a light at the end of the tunnel. And I know that for a fact because there were times where things could go wrong for me and it hasn't. And I know that wasn't that was me and, you know, the higher power being there. So
Right. Right.
yeah,
how old's your daughter again?
she's 9.
Okay. Yeah.
Aw.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, you know, with your kind of spiritual
Thank you.
beliefs and everything like that, do you feel like, do you want her to grow up with that same belief, or are you kind of, you know, are you just like, as long as she believes in something, I'm cool, you know? Like a lot of parents, you know, I don't know. I mean, which one?
Yeah.
Where do you lie on that?
You know, I got confused at one point about my religion because I felt like I was abandoned by God when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I don't believe that now. I believe that everything that I've been through has led me to a path that I know that I will connect, and it was all for a good reason, even though it sounds really bad and it's harsh. It's like, in a way, it's shaped me to who I am today. And my child, like, I would want her to be happy. And if she chose not to go with the religion that I am in, I would still respect her. But at the same time, all I would ask of her would be to do good, be kind, do not harm people. Even you can believe in what you want to believe in, do what you want to do as in terms of belief, but as long as you don't harm people, you're okay. You know, I'm very understanding in that part. Whereas I came from a background of family where they weren't understanding, which is why I am understanding right now. And I feel like every experience that I've been through with growing up, the traumas that I've been through has made me into a very understanding mother, the mother that I am now. Like, and the worst thing that I feel like I never want to be like the person who put me through this. For example, my mom, and it's like I tried to be better than her, and I feel like it's working for me. So as long as she's happy and she doesn't harm people, I'm happy for her what she's happy for.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, 100%. That makes a lot of sense actually when you put it the way you do. You know that you've been through a lot. You know, so that's made you more understanding to the point where it's like that everybody has missteps. You know what I mean? It doesn't make them a bad person. You know, people are they're gonna slip and fall sometimes. It's just a fact.
We're human.
Exactly, and so I agree with that. I mean, 100%. I really like where you come from on that. For
Thank
sure.
you.
Thank you. I think it's also for me because I'm not particularly like a religious or spiritual person, but I do also like subscribe to all of those beliefs. Like you said, like being a good person and like kindness and positivity in the world and thinking about others before yourself and all of these things that like religion is in the long run, I think, supposed to teach you. So for me, I'm like, if that's how you learned those things and that's your reason for doing those things, then like I'm cool with it. I'm like, it's the action that matters. Like because there are some people like same in my family where I'm like, if it weren't for religion and your fearing of God, would you have acted another way? And it's hard to think about that, but like again, like pardon the pun, but like thank God that they believe in God in that moment. So it's kind of like as long as the value set is there, it kind of doesn't matter to me how you get there. It's like the being a good person in the world doesn't matter how you get there, but it's as long as you're doing those actions and subscribing to those beliefs that I think are just very human and universal, like you said, then like I said, like there's no issue there for me.
That's amazing. And the thing is, the reason why I think the way that I think now is because I know what it feels like to be misunderstood. I know what it feels like to be hurt and not be validated or heard. I've learned to accept the apology that I'm never going to get. And that's okay. That's fine. I'm okay. I'm in a better place right now. I'm not a victim. I'm a survivor. And for that reason, it's like I see things differently. And sometimes it's hard for people in my family to understand why I see things that way or why I'm so open-minded and relaxed with certain things. And it's like, no, like if you'd walked in my shoes, you'd really understand why I'm at this point in my life. And I'm grateful for the good and the bad. And, I'm very open-minded and very understanding. So, yeah, I love her to bits. Like, she's amazing. She already believes in what I believe in anyway. So thank God. Like,
well, that's
we're
good.
on the right track anyway.
But even if she didn't, I'd still love her the same. I wouldn't love her any different because I know what it feels like to be outcasted by your family and pushed away for certain things that you believe in or how you view things. So
it's for so many, because for a lot of families that are like religion, like they are a religious family, it's so much like, no, you need to believe in the deity, you need to believe in this particular God, or you have to believe in this version of the Bible or this specific religious text instead of the values, where it's like the values are a consequence of like believing in the Bible. And like believing in the Bible is the important thing. So when someone detaches from that or says they don't believe in that, then suddenly it's like, well, then you'll never be a good person because you don't believe in the Bible. It's just hard, really hard.
I went through that. I was crucified every single day by my mother, who was so-called religious, but she did horrendous things, which just made me feel like, is this even okay? Like, what religion allows you to do this? And that's when I realized as I got older, it's not about the religion, it's about the people that's in it. We shouldn't blame a whole religion just because of what certain people have done. Yes, the main role model in my life was not the best, and she did a lot of wrong things. But at the same time, it's made me look at things from a positive point of view, where I understand that no, it's not the religion, it's the people, and I don't have to be like those people. I can be better than those people. And yeah, it took pain for me to get to this point, to learn a lot of these things, but I'm grateful for the pain. I embrace it, because without the pain, we wouldn't grow. We wouldn't have wisdom. We wouldn't have the intelligent mind that we have right now, you know?
Yeah, I think that,
Yeah.
it kind of takes me back to the podcast a little bit, because, you're talking about, not judging your daughter, for anything. Because honestly, there are going to be missteps with every human being, and in the way that you don't want to blame, people and religion and stuff like that. Like, what do you think that there might be an obvious answer to this, but like, what do you think that we can do as people to just be better, be more decent, towards other people? What do you think that we are kind of doing wrong as people in general?
I think that we should really, really kind of advertise and make it shed a light more on the fact that on so many different types of communities, that it's okay to seek mental health. It's okay if you can't cope. It's okay if you're going through something that your family are putting you through, even if you feel like it's going to put shame on you, whatever it is, it's okay. Kind of just mediarizing it more, even though, yeah, mental health is a lot in the media now. I feel like in certain cultures it's not really shed more light on, and we shouldn't just look at the main audience. We should look at the audience that really don't come forward in the background, and kind of go over there and shed a light. And maybe that my way, I feel like the way I can do it right now in my circumstance, is by doing the podcast, and maybe getting like people from all those different types of areas of communities that I feel lacking guidance in mental health, and get them on and interview them, and kind of like make them speak in their language and then speak in English, and kind of I don't know, work a way of shedding more light, posting it in different platforms, and just kind of editing it and organizing it in the correct way, advertising it more.
Yeah, I mean, no, I mean, there is more legwork that has to go into it. I mean, I know I would ask a lot of people that question, and they'd just be like, I don't know, just be better. Well, if it was that easy, then a lot of problems would be fixed. Exactly. And, I mean, I got to go into the podcast again, because, and your daughter, I mean, do you feel like part of the reason that you want to do a podcast is to, show your daughter that we can make a difference? I mean, is that another motivation for you?
100%. And I feel like I'm setting an example for her. So in the future, I already teach her about stuff about mental health. I teach her about,
awesome.
what's right, what's wrong, how to behave in certain areas. Like if she's in school, if someone tries to, pick on her or whatever, like in many different situations. And she's very aware. I try to teach her as much as I can. And me doing this podcast is also like a way of setting an example to show her, like, she's not gonna allow people to like abuse her or put her through similar things that I went through growing up. And she's already at a generation now where she's a second, I think she's a third generation now. Yeah, she's a third generation. And it's like, I want her generation to be free of the toxicity that came with the last generation before her. So her seeing me doing this podcast, I let her listen sometimes. She sits with me sometimes in certain things. Not everything, because you can't be having kids on stereo on every channel and certain things.
Of course not.
But the things that I feel are suitable, I let her listen to, and she questions things. And I love the fact that she questions it. So then that means it's my place to kind of shed a light and teach her about the things that she wants to understand. So I feel like it's a good impact on her, and I feel like it's going to help her more as an adult, as a teen, when she goes to college, how to kind of handle herself around toxic people, around narcissistic people, how to protect herself against, things that I couldn't protect myself at a certain age, like the mental abuse, the emotional abuse and stuff. So
I mean, it is such a fucking scary world out there. And I guess my question to you, going back into that, I mean, what do you tell? I mean, how do you think she should, or anybody should, fend off against bullying or things like that you might experience at a young age? Or how would you explain to do that?
So I believe that be kind until it's basically necessary, like like if it gets to a point you have to defend yourself,
Okay.
you defend yourself. Like
Yeah.
I'm not telling her to be kind, be nice, be respectful to people, don't ever bully people. That's what I try to explain to her. And the fact that she understands that, and the only time she can ever fight or get into a fight is in a form of self-defense, never to lay her hands on people and be a bully. Like I tried to explain these kind of things and rules that she needs to follow, you know, and she understands these rules. So
yeah, well, that's good. I think that's the
Yeah.
best way to go about it myself. I mean, that's how I did it growing up. You know what I mean? I mean, there were times I got picked on, middle school mostly for me, and
Right.
you know, to me that was my philosophy. If you know, be nice till they hit you. You know, and then once they hit you,
don't ever be the first one to punch,
Never.
you know, or hit. I don't condone violence. I don't teach her violence, but I tell her, by all means, learn to have self-respect for yourself and fight for yourself and defend yourself if you ever come into that situation. And I tried to, like, you know, before this whole COVID happened, I was taking her to self-defense classes. But now that they've shut things, because I never got, see, I'm trying to give her things that I never got. So I wish I had, you know, self-defense classes when I was growing up, because if I did, I probably would have not been in certain situations. But then at the same time, I wouldn't be where I am. So either way, I'm grateful for both of the sides, and she understands that and she knows that. And I try to give her an idea about my life, but not into it too in depth, because I don't want to traumatize, you know.
That makes sense.
But right.
I mean, I mean, that's, you know, I guess the goal, I would suppose, as being a mother is to just, you know, especially we won't dive into it too much, but we have a little bit to where you did grow up with a little bit of a wonky, you know, family life, unfortunately, and we're so sorry to hear it. But on the same hand, because of that, you're coming out on the other side stronger, and you're going to instill better ideas on your daughter and give her a much better life than you ever were able to have. And
100%.
I think that's amazing.
100%. And I've done it without them, so
exactly.
Yeah. And I really commend you for that, because I've been thinking, like, the whole time you've been talking about this whole kind of idea of that it's how for like different races and ethnicity groups, like it's just, it gets even harder once you, like, mental illness is already hard to talk about, but once you remove like white people from the situation and talk about everybody else, it only gets harder. It gets
difficult. Ignorant and difficult.
Exactly. And because like my mom is like white and mainly German, and then my dad's side is mainly Mexican. And I can always say, like, on my mom's side, it's like depressive white people, and on my dad's side, it's angry alcoholic Mexicans. So like that's where my support systems were coming from.
Okay. That must have been hard.
Yeah, it definitely was. I relate to a lot of what you're saying. And it does become very hard when you realize that like the support just isn't there, because it's like it's a system almost. It's a tradition, because it's just the truth that for the last like 500 years at least, for all of these ethnic groups, it's just been a lot of trauma and a lot of heartache that we still feel, that you still feel that as a child of that. And so it is like extreme, and I really commend you for that, for talking about how that is so different from how, because for white people you don't think about that, but on like for a lot of Mexicans, it's, and I'm sure for Somalians as well, it's like you just don't talk about it. If someone says something, we just sweep it under the rug. We find any hole in it to excuse it, and then we run with it, and we never talk about it for the next 50 million years. So then how do you recover, and how do you find support in that when there's a denial of a problem even being there? So I think that's really interesting, and I really commend you for being open and talking about that, because
and the fact that they're in denial, it makes me want to be more, it makes me want to shed light on it more, even if I'm gonna get hate for it. I don't mind, you know. I don't care, because at the end of the day, there's lives out there, that there's people out there trying to take their lives just because of the toxicness that they're in with their people and their community, and no one understands them, you know, on these subjects. And it's like it's just giving me a more motivation to really do it, and I am going to do it, and I'm going to succeed in it. I know that. I just have that feeling that I'm going to be, it's going to be, you know, big, and people are going to start I can help a few people and change a few people's mindset on things, hopefully more than a few, but yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, the key to doing that, I think, is the confidence that you have to do it. And I think a lot of it, comes from, unfortunately, again, I mean, you're the way that you grew up, and, but like you said, you're a survivor. You know what I mean? And
Yes, I am.
and you will help other people survive, and that's the beautiful thing. I mean, even just talking with us here today, the people that are going to be listening are going to be, just they're going to take inspiration from whatever you say. I hope so, and I believe that anyway, because you really do have such a strength and conviction to the way that you, speak about this stuff, in my opinion. And I think that will bring you great success moving forward.
Thank you very much.
I guess if let's say you do a podcast though, and it doesn't work out, or let's say you do a podcast and you love it so much that you want to expand, what other services do you think that you would be able to offer outside of a podcast, outside of charity
YouTube
work?
I'm thinking, are you talking about like a different platform?
Well, I mean, like, are you talking like short form videos on YouTube that aren't podcasts, like something like that? Yeah, no, that's exactly what I mean. Yeah. So
I've been looking at like segments. I've been on TikTok, like you said, like looking every area of things and learn different things.
I see mental health advice on TikTok like all the time. So there's a need for it.
Well, that's what Adam does, right? I mean, that's what Adam's been doing.
Yeah, true. So,
exactly. Yeah. So I was looking at that, and I feel like that could be like a second kind of platform for me to advertise more, because a lot of people use TikTok, especially the communities that I've mentioned earlier on, and also like like Instagram too. So, and maybe even in the future, if it becomes successful and I get enough listeners, I can maybe upload it to what's it called, Spotify, hopefully, if I get enough listeners. And then I could spread the word on different platforms, and it's going to go far, hopefully. And, I can hopefully make this into a full-time job one day.
Oh, 100%. I think that's the goal for all of us, right? I mean, I'm in a fortunate enough position where I have been able to make money here and there from this, but it's not a full-time means of making money by any means. And it's very difficult that, to get that going.
But it's not about the money.
No, it's not. It's not.
Yeah.
If I didn't love doing this, I wouldn't be doing it here today. We wouldn't be having this conversation if there wasn't
just
a genuine
wish
passion.
like our full time could be dedicated to just doing this. Don't have to like take breaks and go to work.
Yeah, it'd be an added bonus. I mean, I could if I didn't have to, make money somehow, I could be sitting here doing this all day. I would be. Trust me. I mean, most of my time would be spent trying to make content, and I'm sure you feel the same. And it's a very, very difficult thing. So, I mean, we kind of talked about your motivation and you just what you want to do. But, I mean, we didn't really talk about, like, outside of making content. I mean, what do you do in your spare time? How do you keep yourself sane? What kind of things do you like to do?
My daughter's off school right now, and she's driving me up the wall. She's great. I love her, and God bless her. So I've been dealing with that. And then on top of that, she's got, like, the tonsillitis flaring up.
No.
So I'm trying to bring her back to health, and then at the same time, like, I've been basically studying. I'm doing digital marketing. I'm studying that.
Cool.
Analytics, sorry, and I'm also doing trading right now and investments as well. So I feel like that's like basically the best way to make money if you're not really working. Invest your money. Find different ways of like, trading, scalping, things like that. And I want to make this into a business one day, but I want to get to that point where, I'm an expert at it. I don't want to just be like, oh, hey, I got time. Like I can help, if I could be wrong, So, and this is people's money as well. So you got to be careful. Yeah. Well, so I'm just learning my way up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if Samee and I can't figure out how to make this full time in the next 2 years, we'll probably be hitting you up for advice with your digital marketing skills, because So, I mean, when you talk digital marketing though, are you talking like affiliate marketing and ways to do like things like that, or is there a little bit more is it a little bit more involved than that?
It's more like like, okay, so I have private clients that I kind of help out, but they already
Okay.
know, like, I'm kind of learning, but they trust me, you know, and I explain to them, you know, like the repercussions if things go wrong or whatever, so they understand. These are people that I know and I'm close with as well, but they're kind of like helping me kind of start up the kind of business in a way while I'm learning my way up as well. And the bit that I mean, sometimes I feel like I put myself down because I know more than I say I do, but at the same time I want to be super sure. I don't just want to be like, oh, you know, I do this, or I want
Right.
to do this for you. It's at their own risk, but they know and understand, and they want to help me, you know, so I appreciate that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I 100% agreed. I just I mean, you know, for me it's like it just sounds like you have so many different avenues you can walk down,
I
you know
do.
what I
I'm
mean?
like the jack of all trades, they
Yeah.
say. So
Yeah.
someone said that to me the other day. So
I think that's
Yeah, you are.
amazing. That's why I think
Yeah.
everything will
thank
bode well
you.
for you in the future, is because you do have so many different avenues. It's like, okay, if the podcasts don't work out, you know, I can go down this route, or I can go down this
Yeah,
road, and you have this
exactly.
willingness, which I think is one of the most important qualities to have in a
Thank
person. To
you.
You have a willingness to listen, you know, and
Thank you.
educate yourself and
Mhm.
become more
Yeah,
educated and whatever it takes. I'm sure having a daughter has a lot to do with that, because you
it
want to
does. It does.
you always
Yeah,
want
I
to
want
have
to. I want to
options.
be right. Exactly. Don't put all your eggs in one basket,
Exactly.
they say.
Right.
So, you know, try to like have different kind of. I'm not saying learn a whole new course or anything or a whole thing, but just dabble yourself in little things,
Yeah.
you know, of
Right.
everything. Yeah,
Yeah,
it
no.
helps.
I
Yeah, it's helping me now. So
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a bit envious. If I didn't have another means of making money to where I had to, you know, do
yeah,
that 40 hours a week, I would probably try to educate myself in other things as well, you know,
yeah,
and try to open up my avenues a little bit. But, you know, I'm happy-ish. I'm happy enough, I guess, where I'm at. It's just, it's like sometimes, you know, I wish like, oh man, I want to be able to educate myself on more. It's not that it's not doable. It's just I put so much of my time into this right now, and I do hope to make this a full-time thing at some point. And
yes,
and
yes.
I
I hope you do, and you will be
I
successful in it.
appreciate that.
You just gotta believe in yourself and just set your mind to things.
Yeah, well,
I know it's easy said than done, but yeah.
100%, 100%. And I just think that, you know, it's a matter of patience. And I mean, same to you and your content, you know, that
Thank you.
my biggest advice to you, as just somebody who's done this a long time, is patience.
Right.
You know, you will gradually start to see growth and new
Thank
opportunities
you.
and new things like that. Just be patient, and people will flock to you. I've already kind of seen it done with you,
Mm,
which again is why I think you're at such an advantage in this, is because you've already kind of got people flocking to you and what you do. And I think that
mm,
that's a big deal. It means a lot in this business when you can just get somebody to listen to you, even if it's for 10 minutes. That's a big
yeah.
deal. And
Right.
you might have that ability, right? So you think it's easy to listen to somebody
Yeah.
for more than 10 minutes. But for a
Right.
lot of people, it's hard to capture their interest because they have such short
Yeah.
attention spans these days.
Right. Right.
I'm sure Sammy's checked out of this conversation a long time ago.
Oh
But
yeah, not an hour ago.
but yeah, no, I'm kidding.
I got that Gen Z brain.
Yeah. But no, in all honesty, like, yeah, Sammy and I have really been, you know, pushing the same as you have. And so we understand the struggle to just try to get people to flock over to you and listen to you for more than just 5 to 10 minutes. It's difficult. Have
Thank you.
you noticed, a difference, like, with people mentally, just from when you were younger all the way to when you were an adult? Do you think that the attention spans are getting shorter, or do you think that they're getting longer? I mean, I don't know. That's an
I
interesting question,
agree.
I guess.
I think they're getting shorter because we're seeing. Okay, so there was a time where we'd sit down and we'd watch TV for
Right.
like 2-3 hours back in like say the 90s or like the early 2000s. Now you go online, everybody's on their phone. They're seeing like 2-minute, 1-minute videos. Why would they want to sit down for TV or like a long video for an hour, or listen to someone for more than like 10 minutes? Like there's
Right.
everything's all kind of like compacted into one little tiny video that they could just access whatever they want to access on TikTok or on YouTube in segments or little tiny segments. So it's like, you know, why would they want to take the time out to sit down and like listen? Like people have so many options now of using different platforms and different things in such a to learn in such a short time, or see things what they want to see in such a short time. So I think it's social media. That's what I think.
Yeah.
Social media has made things a lot harder.
Oh, for sure.
Like stuff from the past.
For sure.
Yeah. I really think that in like 10 or so years, because like I'm on TikTok a lot. I love TikTok. I think it's a great tool, and like there's incredible people on it, and I literally am on it for hours every day. And that is a good and bad thing. But it is real. I think in like the next couple of years, we're really going to start to like really understand the effect of it, because the more I think about it, like TikTok is really kind of insane. The fact that it feels like it's every human on it's like kind of Twitter on overload, where it's every human on the planet telling you their opinion and like performing in front of you, but it's only a minute. Yeah, but it's only a minute, so it's literally like usually just the punchline of a joke or just the important part of something. Like not only do we want it to be quick, but we just want like the important information and to get out of there. But we're still interested in these people. We just want like the quick. We just want what's the punchline and then move on. Yeah.
Everything's a happy
it's doing
meal
something
now.
Exactly.
Yeah, everything's a happy meal now. Nobody really wants to take the time out to learn or listen to things. Everybody wants things just like that by the snap of their finger, and that's not how you grow and learn.
That's a good way to put it.
You can't skip the top and then go to the middle. How you go? You need to know the first parts, and this is the sad thing about social media now. In a way, that's the negative side to it. It has made people more like wanting to just see things from a short way of view.
Oh, you cut out there for a second.
Oh yeah, your audio cut out for a second.
Yeah.
It got a little muffled.
Oh, sorry. Oh, you're back. You're back.
It's back.
You're good. Nice. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like what I'm trying to say is like people don't want to take the time anymore to learn. So, you know, there are people out there who do want to take the time out to learn, who do want to read, who do want to learn from the start till the end. But those people are not as much anymore. You know, they're not around anymore. And probably
it's not the majority.
It's not the majority. And those people probably don't have TikTok and things like that. They probably just buy a book on Amazon or just download a book from Kindle and read that, you know, and they are willing to learn from the start till the end. So there's your two halves of people out there.
Yeah, I mean, a question I have too on that, you know, just understanding the sort of difficulties now of, you know, gaining somebody's attention span and all that kind of stuff. What do you think for yourself doing this, you know, making content will be your next big milestone? Now, for example, like, she probably doesn't even know this, but like, I mean, Samee, for example, like the day I brought her on, like that to me was one of the biggest blessings that's ever happened to this channel. And I consider that such a milestone, you know, in this channel. Like, yes, we do different things in little increments, but like, you know, bringing on somebody like Samee who will sit here and listen to me for more than 10 minutes. And you know, that to me is like considered a milestone to me. So for you with your content, what do you think is going to be like the next big milestone? What do you want to be the next big milestone?
So right now, I'm just at a place where I'm just kind of just learning my way up. So when I get to that point, like last night we had a conversation, and one of the things that you mentioned to me was when you said, like, you might change your mind. You know, you might want to do something else once you start a podcast. So I'm at a point now where I'm learning where I want to really set it up, how I want to set it up. I know it's a podcast, but I know that it might change as time goes by, because I might change my route of spreading awareness or shedding light on things. I might maybe do YouTube videos instead of doing podcasts. I don't know where it takes me, but once I find out exactly, you know, where I want to go, or if I'm just going to keep sticking to podcasts, hopefully, you know, I'll find out then. But right now I'm just kind of learning around and seeing, you know, what's the best way to put my content out there.
Yeah.
And I've just been kind of listening to people, getting to know people, learning about things, buying gear as I just set up my office. Like I still have a bit more to add, but yeah, like, you know,
Yeah.
But yeah, hopefully maybe a second place I can put content would be YouTube, I would say. That's the next best thing
Okay.
I would
No,
use.
that's
Yeah.
fair. That's
Make
I
videos.
think that's a perfect milestone, is to try to be on
Thank
YouTube
you.
or Spotify or something along those lines, maybe. I mean, just because it's like the way I definitely look at your content is, yeah, I see this person being like a YouTube personality, you know, for sure. Like
Right.
I definitely see that with you, and I think that
Maybe.
video format would be a really, really great way to go.
Right.
You know, and that, you know, one of the best pieces of advice that I'd ever received doing content was to start making short form stuff, you know what I mean, eventually, so people can enjoy your long term stuff. Because
Right.
I mean, this channel, Samee could speak to this a lot. Like, this used to be a completely different channel than what you see today.
Right.
We had to make a change, you know, to try to get people consistently coming back and viewing, and it's worked on some level so far. You know what I mean? There's definitely more interest in the content that we're making now.
Yeah.
Do I consider that a milestone? No, I just can kind of consider that evolving. But, you know, making a decision to be on YouTube, that's a milestone. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
like, I know the
Exactly.
content now. I know
That's the
where I want
next
to put it.
milestone.
Right,
Yes.
exactly.
Yes.
So I think that that would be a great next step for you. You know, I mean,
Thank
there
you.
are just so many different avenues you can go anymore with
Yeah.
content. Like, take Adam, for example. I kind of talked to you about this. You know, we were talking about him. I know you're a fan of his content. So,
Yeah.
you know,
I
him,
am.
for example, like, he started on YouTube, you know what I mean? And then he just tried TikTok a few times and just realized, this is where I belong, you know what I mean? And so, what the advice I was giving you is, you know, you can't really run until you walk first, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
you know, Adam had to walk on YouTube for a bit before he ran on TikTok, and it's
Right.
been majorly
Exactly.
successful for him. He's massive now on
Thank
there.
God.
So,
Yeah.
you know, I think that you will get in that groove.
Thank you.
So I mean, I do. I wish you all the success in the world. I think that what you're.
I wish you the same.
Thank you. I think that what you're doing is really, really amazing.
Thank you so much.
So at the time being, where can people find all of your content?
So I'm planning to upload content on the Instagram page that is linked to Stereo. So if you check it out, that's where you'll probably find me, like, on Instagram. But
Okay.
I'm planning to, obviously, I'm working on something right now. So once it's uploaded, like, people just see for themselves. So,
yeah, and that's at Lotus Beam, right, on Stereo. That's
yeah.
Okay, all right.
At Lotus Beam F, yeah.
Okay. Do you mind me asking, how'd you come up with the name?
How did I come up with the name? I came up with the name when I was, like, probably 13, and that was a time where I was going through. One of the times I was going through a really dark, rough patch where I didn't like the name that I had. I didn't feel like I was loved. I was going through a lot of dark things in my life, and I realized that I am a lotus in a way, because I know the meaning behind it. It grows through mud, you know, and it grows out through all the adversities, and it grows into a beautiful flower. And I feel like I am a lotus. I have grown through all the hurt, all the pain, all the destruction, all the trauma that I felt, and I'm growing into a beautiful flower, which I believe I already have become. And I feel very successful in my life, and I feel like I'm gonna do great things, and I just need to set my mind to it, which I already am, and I'm very ambitious. So
that was a much more
thank you.
I mean, that was a much better answer than I typically get when I ask people their handles or their names. I typically just get, I don't know, it sounded cool. But for you have like a lot of meaning behind it, and I think that that's phenomenal. And I really love that story. So I thank you for sharing that with us.
Beautiful, yeah.
Before we transition into the news portion of the show, Samee, is there anything else you would like to ask Lotus Beam?
Let me see. So do you have any other, like, weird ghost stories? Has a ghost ever come around?
Yes,
I'd like to hear some more ghost stories. I find those fascinating, because I've had, like, vibes before. I've felt like bad energy and good energy in certain places, so I feel like they do exist, but I've never seen one. I've never, like, felt one or interacted with a ghost, but I feel like they exist. Like, I've felt their presence before.
Yeah, they do. They do exist. They do. I know that for a fact, because I remember for the first time in my life, this is when I started to realize that I feel like the high power gave me certain, I don't know, intuitional gifts and things. So And this is why I feel like I have them, because I remember I was meeting my father for the first time because my mother
Oh,
and
wow.
father had broken up
Mm.
before I was even born. So she was pregnant with me. So I never really got to meet my father or meet him and talk to him and spend time with him. And he had another family as well. So it was like, I remember my mom one time was like, do you want to go and see your father because he's not very well and he's like kind of dying? And I was like, well, you know, even though I never really knew him and I never met him and I don't have much of a connection to him apart from the fact that he's my biological father, I'm willing to kind of meet him and learn who, you know, brought me to this earth, and be a better person and not judge him because maybe, you know, there's things that I
Right.
don't know about that my mom didn't tell me. And it was true, there was a lot of things I didn't know about. And I remember I had met my father's family,
Yeah.
my grandparents stuff, and they invited me over to the house and I slept over that night and I was staying with them for a while as well. And the first night that I slept over, I remember like I went to sleep and I woke up and there was like a little lamp light and there was like three figures that were like, I could explain like how they looked as well. They were one, it was like shadow figures, but I could see the
Right.
outline of how they looked. One was short, one was tall. Like it was three men. Anyway, I
Right.
described everything to my father in the morning because I screamed during the night. I was like, what the hell is going on? And then my stepmom came in and she was like, you all right? I was like, I just saw three figured ghosts on the corner. And she just looked at me and laughed. And she's spiritual as well, so she kind of understands, you know, what I'm talking about. And she laughed and she said, those are your ancestors, those are your grandparents. I was like, what? And then I remember I went to my dad in the morning and I said, Dad, guess what I saw? This is what I saw in the room while you was in bed. And he said, what did they look like? And I described every one of them. And my dad, when he got up, he went underneath the bed and he pulled
Oh,
out
wow.
a whole
Oh, wow.
picture of three people who I described at the same. And he was like,
Oh,
these are
wow.
your grandparents. He goes, this is your first
Wow.
grandparent, this is your great grandparent, this is your great great grandparent. And there were three of them were all in one
Holy
picture.
crap.
And they were exactly looking like the shadowed figure. Like one was short with curly hair, one didn't have like any like shadowy
Uh-huh.
hair, whatever. It was like bald. And one was like kind of just tall and just standing there, and he had like a tall neck as well. And when I saw it, I was like, what? Like, what is
Yeah.
this? And my dad was like, you're gifted in a way. And I was like, how do you know? He goes, because you've experienced many things that you've told, because I've
Wow.
told him about
Mhm.
many spiritual experiences that I had. And I was like, I used to think I was weird. My mom tried to tell me I was crazy
Mhm.
growing up. I'm
Right.
not crazy, like I'm perfectly sane.
Yeah.
But to people who don't understand what that means or what they are, my dad was like, they came to greet you and say hello because they know that you're with your family now and they
Mhm.
want to get to know you and just say hi. You know, they were just visiting. And I was like,
Absolutely.
I didn't understand it at that point. But once I really started to learn more about spirituality,
Mhm.
I was like, hold on a minute. And then my dad died last year, and since he died I've been more into it as well. So he's just kind of made me, because he was a spiritual man, he's a
Right.
Sufi. And
Oh, nice.
he told me a lot, like during the time that I met him. I spent like eight months with him. So but yeah, it was interesting. I had a few spiritual
Wow.
experiences.
I
Thank you.
That's
remember
crazy. Yeah.
I remember going down, my family and I we had this cemetery down the road from us, and it was like
Yeah.
always supposed to be haunted. By
Mhm.
down the road I mean maybe like 5 miles down the road or something
Mm.
like that. But anyway, it was always said that it was haunted. I'll never forget my family and I was maybe 12, 13, went over there to just like check out the place and see if that's actually true. And you know, because they say there's like a haunted little girl ghost around there.
Right.
Right.
But anyway, yeah. So I mean, the things that I experienced when we went there were crazy. I mean, I remember
How
like
did you go? Was it in the nighttime? You
it
went
was
in
a
the
night,
night?
yeah. And by the
Okay,
way,
that's scary.
yeah,
Oh
it
my
was.
Yeah.
But
God.
by the way, there's something about this road. Like it could be night out, but like for some reason, when you go down this long gravel road that
Yeah.
goes to the
No, right.
cemetery, it becomes like pitch black, and it gets really
Mhm.
freaky.
Right.
Like I remember having just this bad feeling in the pit of my stomach on the way over, and then like we get there and we're walking around. We have flashlights, you know, so that's good. But
Yeah.
you know, we're walking around, and then Oh, the car
Oh my
lights were
God,
on.
I'd
The
be
car lights were
scared.
left on because I said we have to get out of here. I have a bad feeling, and so they said,
Mm,
"Okay, I'll tell you what. We'll leave the car lights on." So we left
mm.
those on, and that's when I turned around and I saw, what I thought was one of my family members walking by the headlights, but I turned the other way, and all my family is just sitting together, standing together. So whatever the
Wow.
hell I saw, I turned back and he was
Oh my
gone,
God.
and I felt like just my entire soul just like left my body and like
Yeah.
time had just stopped, and I felt like that's when I like froze up, and I think I told my mom, I was like, we have to get out of here like
Yeah,
right now.
you gotta
So
run.
the other
Yeah,
thing
run.
the other thing that they thought they were hearing too was like a little girl crying, which was really crazy. And then we
Oh my
Wow.
get all the
God.
way back home or whatever, and there are like young girl like handprints all over the vehicle. Like it was insane. Like
Are you
when we got back, I'm
serious?
serious, that's serious. Yeah.
I would call the
Who's it?
police. I would have called the police at that point.
Oh
I'd be
my
like,
God.
"Nuh-uh, I'm not dying tonight."
I can.
Yeah.
I'd be like
Yeah.
screaming my head off
Same.
and
Yeah.
crying at the same time.
It was crazy.
But
Yeah.
it's crazy.
Same.
I've seen spirits, I've seen ghosts, I've had experiences, but even when I do see it, like some spirits are negative, you feel it in your chest, like
Right.
it's
Mhm.
you get the anxiety pit of your
Mm-hmm.
stomach, scared feeling. But then some spirits that I've seen, like orbs and stuff, I felt completely at peace. Like I felt so at peace and chill. I didn't
Right.
feel like there was something odd about it, like
Mhm.
there's nothing weird about this. It
Yeah.
feels
Right.
natural, it feels like they're just one of the furniture, even though they're not, but you know what I
Right.
mean.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
Yeah, that's interesting.
yeah,
Yeah.
100%. So before we get into the news portion here, which we're going to be doing here in a second, I want to offer this to all of our guests before we do this. Is there anything that you wanted to ask us before we got into the news here?
How long did it take you to get to this point in podcasting?
It depends for myself anyway. It kind of depends on how far back you want to go, because I kind of did YouTube for a little while for, you know what I mean? But then, so that was probably like 5 years
What
ago.
did you do on YouTube
I
apart
just-
from
I
movies?
just did movie reviews. That was it.
Okay.
That was it. I just
Right,
did like
right.
little short movie reviews, and I was doing
Okay.
that for a little while.
Mhm.
And then, at that point I'd started, that was probably 5 years ago, 6 years ago, maybe I started that for the
Mhm.
first time. And then, that was on a whole different channel. And then, I started I started networking with people, meeting people. I started getting like press screening invites to things. And I don't get that so much these days,
Yeah.
unfortunately, but, and it was helpful, and it was starting to grow. And then suddenly I just lost all motivation because I felt like my gear was
Mhm.
never good enough. You know what I mean? I would never, make it or anything like that. And then,
Right.
that was probably 5-6 years ago. And then I took a break. Then I met some people who I started a movie podcast with. That one went for about 2 episodes. Nobody was reliable except for myself. And then I started another movie podcast where there was on this channel. I'm sorry. We started a movie podcast, and that was called and that was called Anorak's on Air. That was the first thing that ever aired on this channel.
Right.
And so that was maybe 3 years ago that we started that, and that went for about 13 episodes. And another thing of, just could never get anybody on board. And then I kept pushing, I think, to have a podcast. And then, but I kind of did movie reviews for a little while. Then I stopped because I lost motivation just doing it on my own. And then it wasn't until, what was it, last year, 2020, I started doing what was called the Dom's Corner podcast. And that I was actually incredibly consistent with.
Okay.
And so we did that for a long time. And then I met Samee, and then I met Cisco, and we decided to make the Dom's Corner podcast essentially the Anorak's Anorak's
Right.
Entertainment podcast. Also split it off into different shows where we had now we have movie night on Monday nights, and then we started with the short form stuff, which is the stuff I'm doing movie reviews again.
Okay.
And we're just calling that
That's
Dom's
great.
Corner. So
Yeah.
it took probably for me 6 years to actually come up with 5 years maybe to come up with something that I was consistent with, I would say, at the very least. So I've been trying to get something going for a long time. Yeah.
That's amazing, and you're successful now in it. Like it looks like
yeah.
you've improved so much. Yeah,
We
it's
do
good.
okay. Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Though. That means a lot. Yeah.
Right. And like, what advice would you give me? As in, like, how long do you think I would have to take to get to that point.
The thing I noticed is that there's never a set timeline with content creators, but the ones that I've watched grow are just always the ones that never stopped. So that would be my advice. Just don't stop. It may seem like nothing's gonna happen or come from it, but don't stop. I mean, Adam is the kind of guy that made 3 TikToks and he was viral. I don't know. Sometimes it happens that way. Or you can have people like, you know, I know another great content creator I watched, Star Wars Theory. It probably took him like 4 years to get to the point that he was at. You know what I mean? And he's like at 3 million subscribers. I see the timelines vary at, you know, multiple, you know, in multiple different ways. They can always vary. But again, the biggest point I would drive home with it could be like 3 to 5 years, but the biggest point I would try to drive home is, for me, the ones that I always have seen succeed are the ones that never stopped and just kept going. Even if that means you have to change it up, even if that means you have to evolve, and you will evolve, but just don't stop. It will happen. I believe it. I think that it has to happen. Even looking at it from a mathematical standpoint, it will happen one day. You know, it's just it might take time. You know, so that'd be my advice to anybody trying to start this: is don't stop. You will get down on yourself. Some of your videos are gonna suck. Your first few videos are probably gonna suck, or podcasts or whatever. They're probably gonna be horrible. But don't stop. Whatever you do, you know. I still think that, you know, when I listen to myself, there's definite room for improvement. But I also recognize that I've gotten a lot better at this than I once was.
Yeah. I've been listening to myself too.
Yeah, I think that's important.
I'm appalled.
Yeah, it's hard.
I'm appalled. Yeah.
You don't listen to yourself,
it's
Samee?
rough. No, it's so hard for me to listen to myself. I hate it. Yeah. And I know it's necessary, but like I hate it.
I don't know if it's necessary.
The whole time. I'm like, who is that?
I think it's different for everybody, but I know for me, listening to myself incessantly, not because I like the sound of my own voice, it's just helped me get better. I know for myself, that's one of the things that's helped me get better. But you know, Sammy's so damn naturally good at this, so I don't think she needs to
natural,
listen to herself.
guys. I don't have to work hard for anything. It's just natural. I'm just worth it.
I love that.
It was ordained by God, so
that's so
take
beautiful.
it up with him.
I love that. Yeah. So great.
All right, so I think we're going to move into the news portion of the show. Lotus Beam, thank you for your wonderful conversation here, and I hope you could stick around for some news here, and we'll let you out of here afterward.
Definitely.
All right.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, no problem whatsoever. I'm so happy that you were able to share the things you shared with us,
happy to be here too.
And it was a wonderful conversation. So I hope we can get you back at some point. So we'll be in touch for sure. Yeah.
Definitely.
And I wish you a lot of success too along the way. I think you're going to do really well.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate both of you.
Yeah,
thank you.
Not a problem at all. Samee, what do we have on the table for news?
Hi, we only got 2 stories today, but we got the first one. So there's a trailer for the new Apple TV Plus series Invasion, which is it's being called as it is set across multiple continents following an alien invasion through different perspectives around the world. I mean, the trailer didn't look bad, I will say.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued. That's the most thoughts I have. I'm intrigued. I don't have Apple TV, so that is the big caveat. But I mean, it looks cool. I'm sure if I had it, I'd check it out.
I agree. I mean, I think this looks like a really great like alien invasion show for sure. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm assuming it's alien invasion. I mean, that's the hint I got. I don't know if you guys or Samee, you got that.
That's what the IndieWire article said.
Right. I mean, so right, it did say that exactly. So either way, that was the impression I got the second I was watching it. And what I loved is they didn't have to show a single alien for me to understand that. And I just thought it looked really freaking cool. Like, you know, just, you know, having I like it. I like a good alien property myself, you know what I mean? So it's like it's just anytime you can like get me without showing me the creature or the monster or whatever, you know, is lurking behind, that to me is like talented. And it was a good spot on this trailer. We'll see how the show turns out, but I don't know. Lotus Beam, do you have like any favorite like alien movie that you've seen, or does this sound like something you'd watch?
One of my favorite alien movies was Premonition, I think, or something. It was the alien god who was on a different Earth. I think it's called Premonition. Yeah.
Oh wow! I don't think I've seen it.
Yeah. I've never heard of that. Yeah.
No, I don't think I saw that.
It's a really, really good film.
Wow.
It's about this group of like architects and like scientists that go up to like a different planet to do some work and kind of like dig and like find out like ruins and stuff, and then they get to this cave where they see like, you know, these ruins and these things, and then there's God, and I don't want to spoil it anyway, but it's
Yeah,
a really cool
it's good.
film. Yeah, it's a cool film.
I'll check that out. I don't think I've heard of
Yeah.
this one, but this sounds
Never heard
really
that either.
sounds
Yeah,
really
it's
interesting.
really, really cool. Yeah,
For
I love.
sure.
I'm mostly into horror films. I know that
Mhm.
that's like that. I don't look like the type to watch horror films, but I really love like
Yeah.
Tim Burton. I love fun horror films as well, like Tim Burton.
Yeah.
And,
Nice. Like Beetlejuice and
Beetlejuice,
you know,
and
Nightmare Before
Unfortunate
Christmas.
Events.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it's
a-
fortunate. The series of Unfortunate
Ex-
Events. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
good stuff.
I love
Yeah.
It's great
Unfortunate
stuff.
Events. Oh my
Yeah.
god, they made it
Nice.
into a series as well.
Yeah,
I
it was
love
good.
the series.
It was
Yeah,
good.
my
I
daughter
love both,
loved it.
honestly. Yeah, the series and the
Yeah.
movie
Yeah.
and the books. Like series of
Right.
Unfortunate Events just killed it all the way around.
I love
honestly.
it.
Yeah.
I loved it. It was amazing. And my daughter even watches it. She's a big fan of
nice.
Unfortunate Events.
Oh
Yeah.
wow.
And
Love that.
the barber, what was that other one? The Killer Barber. What was his
Killer Barber?
Oh,
Ed
Sweeney
Oh,
Todd.
Sweeney Todd.
yeah.
Yes, I
Yeah,
love
I
Sweeney
love the
Todd.
musicals. Sweeney
No, we
Todd
do.
is
Sweeney
so
Todd.
great. I love it.
Good flick.
And I love drama films as well, like
Mhm.
drama horror, like Hereditary films like
Oh yeah,
that.
yeah.
Like
Hell
indie
yeah.
films that are like horror films, kind of. The Woman in the Window. I've watched that film as well. That was a really good film
Nice.
as well.
Oh yeah, I don't think I've seen that one. Yeah, but
That was pretty
Watch
great.
it. Watch
Alright.
it. It's on Netflix. It's
Netflix,
really
right.
really cool. You'll love it.
yeah, I think a
You'll love
couple
it.
of our listeners have recommended it on stereo,
Yeah.
but I don't think I've actually ever gotten the chance to
Yeah.
check it out for sure. But that's awesome. Have you seen?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, like UK to US is different when it comes to movies from time to time. But have you seen Signs? To me, it's still like my favorite Alien movie till this day.
Signs? No, I haven't seen
Okay.
it. I'll definitely check it out.
It's good.
If you can get your hands on
Yeah.
it, to me, that's the biggest Alien flick that I'd recommend to people. Like,
Really?
in my
Okay.
opinion, I think it's the best Alien movie.
I'll definitely
yeah.
check it out.
As far as like being scary goes, you know what I mean. I think that's the best
Yeah.
one. Yeah. Anyway, Sammy, what's next?
Awesome. So our last piece of news is that it has been confirmed that there is going to be a new Lord of the Rings movie from
Oh, yeah.
Warner Brothers. It is going to be an animated anime series
Oh,
that I know, not live action.
no
I know.
film? Okay.
Yeah, but it will still,
Still-
be an anime
yeah.
feature, right?
Still
I know.
good. Yeah.
Yeah,
Either way.
still counts, right?
Yeah.
It's gonna be directed by filmmaker I'm sure I'm gonna butcher this, Kenji Kamiyama. And it's going to be a prequel to the original Lord of the Rings trilogy that will plunge fans into a legendary battle that helped shape Middle-earth and set the stage for the epic adventures that brought to life in the Lord of the Rings trilogy. So I mean, I'm like kind of middle ground on Lord of the Rings. Like I am a fan, I do love it, but I'm not like obsessed with it.
Yeah,
like I
me
watch
too,
the
me
movies and then
too,
I'm done.
yeah.
You know
It's
what I mean?
just too much. Sometimes it just feels
Yeah.
like it's a lot of energy just to keep up with
It's a
the
lot,
whole
that's
like
true.
story. There's like sometimes I feel like there's a million stories in just one film. Like sometimes not a million, but it just feels like it's all over the place sometimes. And it's
Yeah.
just you gotta really kind of have the energy to sit down and kind of really take the time out
sure.
to watch it and learn it. Yeah.
Mhm.
But I like it still. It's okay.
Yeah.
Like I'm not a big fan as well, but yeah,
Yeah.
either way.
Uh,
I love Harry Potter though. I love
Oh my gosh, same. No, we're
I'm
big
such a
Harry
big
Potter
fan.
people. No,
I
same.
love
Literally,
it.
I'm like so much of my brain is taken up with like Harry
Yeah.
Potter lore that like Lord of the Rings just doesn't fit. Like I'm sorry, I'd
Yeah.
have to delete some stuff and I
Exactly,
can't do
no.
that to Harry Potter.
Lord of the Rings can go in the bin. Harry Potter, I
Honestly.
choose Harry. Listen, in my
Same.
house, like literally, when I go out, I buy my daughter like Harry Potter trinkets and Harry. And I
Yes.
brought her like the whole set. She loves
Yeah.
reading. Like she has like a
Oh,
library
that's
in her room.
awesome.
That's great.
And she's like so like into like she's got the collections of it. She's got the toys.
Uh-huh.
She's just like, yeah, she's a big fan. Just
Perfect.
and you know what? I didn't even tell her about it. Like we were just out shopping, and she goes, "Can you buy me this Harry
Right.
Potter
That's how it
set?"
starts.
I was like, I didn't know you like Harry Potter. Do you like
Yeah.
Harry Potter? Whoa, you know?
Yeah.
I was like, wow. That's
Right.
No,
interesting.
that's always
Yeah.
how it starts, right? The toys,
Yeah.
the toys. But yeah, as far as Lord of the Rings goes, though, I think you guys are both insane. I think this sounds
I love
amazing.
Harry Potter.
I mean
Yeah.
this for me. This is one of those things where it's like, why hasn't there been more of an effort made to expand the Lord of the Rings universe? They did their 6 films and then they were off. You know what I mean? It's like, so the fact that now we're getting a TV series on Amazon and we're also going to get this animated movie, I think that this is a big deal, and I can't wait. I think it's just going to be awesome to see some more expansion to the world and the lore in general. Yeah, give it to me. I'm excited for it. Yeah. Sure.
I can't wait. I'll still watch it. I'll still watch
Fair
it.
enough.
I'll put it on with my daughter and I'll watch it.
There you go.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure she'll love it. It's animated.
She'll love it.
So
Yeah,
sure
She
love
loves
it.
animated,
Lord of the
so.
Rings. She loves. She's read the books already.
Oh,
Like,
nice.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
yeah, she loved reading
Nice.
from like a young
Oh,
age.
wow,
She's
that's
like
amazing.
me. Right. She's picked up on a lot of things like me because
Uh-huh.
I used to get criticized for reading. My mom would never like spend the money to buy me books when I was
Right.
growing up. So I'd go to the library and collect all the books and just
Right.
Uh-huh.
watch them, and read them and borrow DVDs as well from the library. But
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
like, oh my God, ever since I had my kid, I've been like telling her, like, what do you like? What do you want to do? Like anything
Yeah.
she's interested in, like I literally,
Mhm.
I'm like interested. Like, yeah,
It's like, we'll get this
do
set, we'll
that.
get everything.
We'll get
yeah.
it. We'll
Yeah.
get what
Yeah.
she loves art. She's like draws and stuff. She's
That's
really
great.
into anime.
That's
So I
awesome.
was like,
Oh, that's awesome.
right.
So yeah, she should
lo-
like this then. Yeah.
Yeah, she would. She definitely would. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds
Oh,
great.
that's so cool.
That's awesome.
We love to see it.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Yeah. But yeah, guys, anyway, I want to thank everybody for being here. That is going to wrap up today. That Lotus Beam, again, I can't thank you enough for just sharing everything that you shared with us today. And it's just been great having you
Yeah,
here.
thank you.
Thank you so much. And we hope to get you back. Just keep in touch. We'll have you back on some other time. And good luck to everything again. And before we go, once
Thank you.
again, where can people find you?
They can find me on Instagram at Lotus Beam F. And I'm also on Stereo as well. So I'm Lotus Beam on Stereo. Yeah. So they can find me over there. And once I've, uploaded my content, then, they can view it and watch it from there as well. So
Amazing.
and YouTube as well. Yeah, I'm planning Spotify as well, but not running before I can walk. So yeah, I'm still learning. Yeah.
No, amazing.
Thank you for having me.
No problem.
Yeah.
Anytime, really. So thank you so much for being here again, and good luck.
Thank you.
Samee, before we go, where can people find you?
You guys can find me. I'm on Instagram at Samee Ramirez 14, Twitter at Samee Ramirez, and then hosting movie night every Monday here on the Anorak Entertainment Podcast. Next week we're doing In the Heights, so look out for that coming out this Monday.
All right, and then you can find me on Twitter at Dom_Martino_, and then on Instagram Dom_Martino_official, and you can follow the Anorak's Twitter and Instagram Anorak's official across all platforms, and then you can also find this show now on Spotify along with Movie Night hosted by Samee Ramirez, and yes, like she said, I will be on that episode as well, reviewing In the Heights with her. You could also see a one-off review of In the Heights coming up here shortly. It's just going to be a small short form little non-spoiler version of it. I'll be doing that here shortly as well. Oh my gosh, I want to thank our guest again, Lotus Beam. She was so great today. It was just such a great conversation, and we just had a great time with that, and we hope to get more guests on. Next week we are going to have Miss Krista Xavier joining us here, so look forward to that. And yeah, just should be a lot of fun. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel, leave feedback in the comment section, share this with your friends, hit that bell for notifications. Last thing, guys, we have a merch store now, so please go over to merch.streamelements.com/Anorak. You can find some really cool shirts and mugs over there, so check that out for sure. And then also, we're always free to talk to on Stereo, but if you want to send a tip and send us a message that way, streamelements.com/Anorak/tip, and you will have your message read out on this podcast, and we will answer all of your questions that way. So thank you guys again. This has been fun. I've been Dom Martino. I want to thank Samee Ramirez and Lotus Beam one more time, and we're going to get out of here. All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Good night. Later.
Thank you.
Bye.
Good night.